Welcome to the Taproom Exclusive. I am your host, Dean Zarbaugh. Today's show is sponsored by House of Helga. Are you a brewery looking for some vibrant, stunning artwork to slap on that freshly bottled or canned beer? Contact House of Helga for all your design needs. They've worked with Masthead, Streetside, and yours truly here at the Taproom Exclusive. You can check out Kyla's entire portfolio of incredible work at houseohelga.com. Also, be sure to check out House of Helga's Facebook page and purchase a House of Helga t-shirt. The cost of school supplies are at an all-time high, and most families can't afford the extensive list of items required for the school year. A recent survey from the National Center for Education Statistics found that 94% of public school teachers pay for classroom supplies. In the greater Columbus area, Operation Backpack works to offset this by donating backpacks and school supplies to 25 schools across Franklin and Licking County. Profits from the House of Helga t-shirt sales will go towards Operation Backpack to help a local child in need with supplies for the upcoming school year. Do your part to help those in need by going to bit.ly/Helga donates and pick up your shirt today. On today's show, I chat with Brick and Barrel's brewer and founder Carl Spiesman over their tasty Brewski Kolsch. But first, a taste of what's going on in the craft beer world with this week's Tasting Glass, brought to you by Northeast Ohio Craft Brewery News. Some sad news to start this week, as it was announced that Queen City Brewery of Cincinnati will be closing this year. They announced on their website that they will be hosting a fire sale on merchandise and anything that is not bolted or nailed down. Feel free to stop by and grab a pint and say goodbye. $5 pints till the beer is gone. I'm sure it was a tough decision, but I wish everyone at Queen City the best in their journeys. Per Rob at Northeast Ohio Craft Brewery News, the Barrel Room on Canal, who was devastated when floodwaters hit the Canal Fulton area, will finally get its doors opened. The floodwaters from a very wet June have receded with a much drier July, and on Friday, August 16th at 3 p.m., they'll host their grand opening. Go check out these great supporters of all things local at their new location, or stop by to their original location in North Canton, Ohio. Carrie and the crew are fantastic people who truly appreciate the craft beer industry. For more information, check out facebook.com/thebarrelroom wine and beer bar. Missing Mountain Brewing Company announced on their Facebook page that they have received a 20-barrel fermenter and bright tank this week. Be on the lookout for more delicious beer on the way soon. To stay up to date on all things Missing Mountain, follow them at facebook.com/missingmountainbrewing. Planted Flag Brewing in Medina has set up its crowdfunding campaign and is taking donations through September 15th. You can choose your rewards, including hats, shirts, a chair or stool with your name on it, a brew day at the brewery, or the Planted Flag Collectible Challenge coin, which will be good for 10% off food and drink purchases at Planted Flag Brewing for 1 year from the date of the grand opening. The coin is non-transferable and must be presented for a discount. A new coin will be available every year to support a local charity. For more information, check out plantedflag.com/crowdfunding. Zaftig has also announced their crowdfunding campaign to open a new location in the Italian Village section of Columbus. Rewards include shirts, stools, and even a brew day where you can collaborate on a new beer. Check out more information at facebook.com/zaftigbeer. And be sure to get your tickets to Brewfest Waterfront District 6, taking place this Saturday at Black River Landing in Lorain. General admission tickets are only $25 and include admission, a sample glass, and 15 4-ounce samples. Log on to brewfestwd.com and get yours now. I will be at Brewfest this year broadcasting live, so stop by and say hi. All right, here it is. My interview with Carl Spiesman, brewer for Brick and Barrel in Cleveland, Ohio, is up next after this tune, Every Day's New by Good Weather for an Airstrike. I'm here at Brick and Barrel with Carl Spiesman, brewer and founder of Brick and Barrel. How are you doing today, Carl?
Good, Dean. Thanks.
Thank you for having me out today. We're enjoying the Brewski Kolsch right now. Before we get into the beer, talk a little bit about Brick and Barrel. How did you guys get started here, and where are you located? All that jazz.
Yeah, so 5 years old this year. Been in the building for 6. So started in 2014. And, just came back from Oregon, worked out there for a bit, brewing and winemaking. Came back here to maybe do an urban winery, kind of bring that, kind of some of that excitement and some of the interest that I saw out there as far as small wineries popping up in Portland and Seattle and things like that. So wanted to do that, found this space, and kind of realized that it's going to take me a while to get a couple bucks in the bank with a small urban winery. So used the backup plan of the other experiences I've had as a brewer. So opened up a small taproom brewery.
What was it that got you into actually like brewing or doing wine?
Yeah, I was in the Coast Guard when I got out of after traveling around after high school and that kind of thing. Went into that, and then when I got out, I was going to go from active duty into the reserves to go back in as an officer maybe, or do something in the Coast Guard. But I, as a part-time job, actually it was a full-time, but just a job, worked at a winery in Madison, Debonnaire. Okay, yeah. And that was like about 2003, 2002. Sometime around there, and then I just caught the interest in craft wine, beer. I started drinking beer and bugging brewers and kind of rubbing shoulders with them, and I left Debonnaire and started working at wineries all around the country, overseas, and when I applied for my first brewing job was with Harpoon Brewing, Vermont and Boston. They knew I could clean barrels and stainless, so they felt good about it. Yeah. They put me on the team, and I worked my way up from cellarman to a shift brewer, and got my feet wet there, and just started working at breweries and wineries all around the country. And then awesome. Came back home.
What was it about? You're down here on Columbus Road. What was it about this space specifically that drew you in?
I came back because I love Cleveland. Love growing up in the suburbs, east side in Paynesville, and being connected to Cleveland. I love it. This area specifically, you drive, for about 2 years, you look around, you're looking at buildings, you're trying to figure out leases, and obviously I can't buy a building, so you're trying to figure out what's good for a location and bringing people in. This one might not be the best foot traffic or retail-oriented place, but it just has that heart of Cleveland, old area, old industry. And you just kind of picture what it was like, at the turn of the century with all the, the sailing, all the industry from like the ships being, sailing in and doing unloading, making steel, stuff for the war movement. And just had that when I moved in here. I think the roads were awful. They just redid them the past years, but and the bridge is halfway broken down all the time. But I just had that feel, had that gutty, industrial, awesome Cleveland feel that I liked. And the lease was great, and I have a pretty darn good landlord. So I can't complain. Yeah, it's a great place to grow. It's a little small, so growing is tough if you want to move into some segments in the market. But I love it. It's good. It's great.
Yeah, we were just talking about that a little bit off air about how growing. You got to go naturally with what you have, and as it comes, just take up the opportunities as they come. You can't just jump in too heavy, because then you might end up cutting off your nose just to spite your face. So you've got a really cool space here. What kind of system are you using?
So I have a 3.5 barrel direct fire, 3-vessel brew system. It's kind of like a home brewer's dream on steroids. It's pretty nice. There's no bells and whistles. It's got fire. It's got kettles. Hook up hoses. Hook up a pump. Move stuff around. That kind of thing. But I have 5 7-barrels. I started with 1 7-barrel and 1 3.5 barrel fermenter and 1 bright tank. So that was kind of, you're stuck with that. And since then, I sold one of my 3.5s. I got 5 7-barrels now. So I double batch into 7 barrels.
Okay.
And the bright tanks, the carbonating tanks, or they could be used as serving tanks at other locations. Other people do that, other brewers. But yeah, and I have 2 7-barrel bright tanks, so I can move stuff around that way. So I double batch usually, depending on the beer style.
Oh, nice.
So it takes 1 day brew, then another day brew, back days to fill up a tank.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
It kind of keeps it pretty efficient around here. Is
Yeah,
that the best?
I like to do it that way because it gives almost, not to get geeky, but it creates a starter for the yeast. So if I pitch in the yeast, the first day of the brew, it gets happy, it gets acclimated to the beer. Then the next day, it's just, hey, it's even more happy. It's still hungry. It wants more sugar.
Right.
Wants all enzymes, everything it wants and needs. So it's excited. So the next day, it's just like it's happy. Then it just boom. So I get good attenuation. So my beers attenuate out pretty nice. So I feel like if I do a 1-day batch, I always I don't struggle with attenuation, but I'm always like, oh, you can see the difference. You really push through on that second day. So I like that setup. I've done it out of all of the breweries I've worked at, the larger ones, such as Harpoon and Full Sail Brewing Company. They double, back to back, sometimes 3 days in a row brews, and really nice beers. So good attenuation and everything. So
we were, like I said at the beginning, we're enjoying the Brewski Kolsch. How'd this beer come about? I like seeing there's a lot of breweries around Cleveland now doing Kolsch's. Yeah. It's a really nice, easy drinking style. There's still a lot of people, like I at work, I have a Kolsch on tap right now, and people are like, what is a Kolsch? And not very familiar with the style. So tell people a little bit about what it was about Kolsch's that brought you to trying to brew it, and specifically the profile on this bad boy.
Yeah, so that beer, it's a German ale. It's fermented in a cooler condition. So and most of your ales are kind of brewed. I mean, it's a wide world, but it could brew, generally around 65 to 75, and nowadays there's so many strains that could even be brewed. Fermented like in the 90s and 80s. Oh, wow. So it's crazy. This world's getting crazier and different every day. But just typically traditionally, around 65 to 75 degrees. So the Kolsch is treated more in the German lager style of fermentation.
Okay.
Not as cold, but you can ferment around 54 to 65 degrees and get some really nice flavors, and you get a fermented product. So that's my take on. I started off with a Kolsch, 5 years ago, just because I couldn't really find the time to put into my tanks for lagering, which bugs me because German lagers are like my top of the mountain, really. But I love them. But so I did the Kolsch, and then another thing is you could do the alt beer after it. You can use that same strain, and actually the Kolsch strain the yeast strain you can really use for a lot of fun beers, hoppy beers, anything. But I just did a Kolsch and alt start off with 5 years ago, and it's kind of stayed ever since. I mean, now that I got more tank space, I do want to get into the lager world, but it's made such a good stance here that I just keep brewing it. It's nice straw color, clean, nice minerality, some light hop profile, really, and just easy drinking. You should be around 4.8 to 5 any given time I brew it. So
Kolsch's weren't a style I was very familiar with before doing the show. It's a style I've learned to really appreciate more and more since doing the show, and this is a really nice, easy drinker, just a great beer. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people I hear complaining because maybe they don't like bitter IPAs or they don't like dark stouts or whatever. They just want something that tastes like quote-unquote beer, and this is a really good beer.
Thanks, man. Oh, yeah. Then that's, when you first open, you have to bridge some of craft beer has blown up, but you still have to bridge some of those gaps where a lot of beer drinkers think of beer as just, your, large market brands, Miller, Coors, Bud. And so they'll come in either with by themselves or with other people, and they'll expect that here. And so you always kind of feel you need something, because you don't want to shun society because they don't drink your beer or, what craft brewers are brewing right now. And I'm not saying that those larger companies aren't craft brewers. I mean, they brew beer, but they put it into different, they brand it into different segments of the market now. So now you just go buy that. But it's kind of was hopefully my beer that got entry level beer drinkers in who kind of associate beer with just those brands. So I feel like everyone kind of understands that you got to have something. Doesn't mean you have to put Bud, Coors, Miller on,
right?
But at least you have something that you brewed in house that you can hopefully appreciate with somebody.
And that's the thing is if we all like the same beer, there'll only be one kind of beer. So
exactly.
You don't want to be put someone down just because they don't like a specific style or whatever. That's what they like. That's fine with them. You know, everybody has their own palate. You can only do so much and tell so many people about what it is and let them judge for themselves. But this, we've been having a lot of hot days lately. Taking a growler or a crowler. Do you do crowlers or just growlers?
Right now, I just do growlers.
Growlers of this? Man,
yeah.
The growler of this on a hot day. Oh, this is nice. This is a nice, just crushable, easy drinker that you can have sitting out on a porch or on your deck, just enjoying a nice warm day.
Yeah, thanks, man.
If you don't serve food here, you don't have a kitchen.
Right.
But if someone were taking this home and maybe wanted to eat with it, what would you say is something that goes good with this style beer?
Yeah, you don't want to overpower it, like anything in the world. You have a good wine, a good beer, a good cocktail, whatever you drink, or even just, whatever non-alcoholic stuff you drink, but you don't want to overpower it. So with this lighter dishes, you could probably do like a light seafood, dish, not too buttery, maybe more of like on the citrus side, for like a main dish. But for anything in between, like some nice light salad, a light cheese, nothing too in the blue vein world or anything like that, or too smoky or too stinky. But yeah, there's so many little light things that would really complement it. Probably do like a pork dish, like a light pork,
yeah.
But yeah, when you start going to the steak and other kind of fish world, or red meats or anything with heavy sauces,
too big.
It's too much. Yeah, it kind of overpowers these little, 4.5% to 5% light straw, kind of, not one dimensional, but not much going in there as far as a hop profile or any kind of fruits. Like there's no raspberry puree or anything. So to complement these, it's really kind of just going light with what they are. So you can have the beer and you can have that. But like pretzels, like the dish. I mean, the Bavarian pretzels, people are making at restaurants. They go nice with that. There's a little bready dough kind of with the good grainy beer.
European food.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
The European beer.
Yeah, exactly. So like you could go with like your brats, with not a heavy mustard, but even with a little mustard, it cuts through that little spiciness. Could cut through with the Kolsch. So that's what the Germans, their dishes coincide with their beers for the most part.
And before we head out or anything, what else do you want to get out about this beer? Make sure people know about it or about Brick and Barrel in general.
Yeah. So the Kolsch. It'll be rocking. It's a flagship. It's a staple. You know what I mean? I hate to use the word flagship because there's a lot of different beers people make and I make. So it's just one of those 4 beers I always want to keep on.
A standard. Yeah,
standard beer. So that and, kind of the other couple beers I try to keep in-house all the time. It's always here. And looking to do some fun canning, keep it in the coolers here for people to take home. Because I don't do crowlers right now. I just do growlers and understand that, you might not want 64 fluid ounces of beer.
Right.
Or even a 32-ounce, crowler you got to crush in one night.
Yeah.
So I do little 6-packs, 12-ounce cans, and that'll be in the house with some Brewski down the road. And, that's about it for that beer.
Nice. Carl, thank you so much for your time. Tune in next week for another episode here at Brick and Barrel.